just some ideas for how the program should run. At the very start of your write-up, there's a writing framework for the project. Remember to have a read through all the guide parts, and it says complete the following report. For this project I've indicated approximate time for each section, a quarter of a page. You are to summarise, so to write that out, and you would summarise below there. Your system should, and it's telling you what to put in, so read through it and then write your introduction out just below it. We can then afterwards just get rid of that part because you've summarised everything in there. Now the first thing that it's after team A versus B, and we want to input the scores from that match and store in a file. That's the first thing I'm going to do, although it asks for a few other things, but I'm going to build up to that gradually. Now do the write-up part first of all, up to the point where it says, well, my program will do this, my program will, etc. And later on, after the validation rules and all that, we thought, now we're going to program it and put it into practice. Right, in the classroom, I've opened up the document, but remember that one of the earlier tasks that we did underneath classwork was warm up for the project task. So we'd set this, to way back, but in here there's a Python Techniques textbook that some of you have seen. So if I scroll through that, in fact I'll have to download that. So I've now downloaded it, rotate it clockwise, and we'd indicated in there, if I just close that part, that you should really be looking through chapter 6 lists and chapter 7 files, as well as all the others, but it's just a little reminder of some lists and some files, some techniques you may want to do. So if I scroll through, it also tells me what page 25 of the document for filing. So let's go through to page 25. Just take a second. And there we are, we're on chapter. We're working with files, and we'll draw on that in a moment because I'm going to use this open for write and append and input in just a moment. So if we look at the initial requirements, it asks to input the scores for each match. So I've started up in Python. I've started a menu, home and away system at the top, print, enter your option. 1 to input weekly scores, 2 for display all teams, etc. I'm only going to program this particular part at this point, and then 0 to exit the system. Get their choice inputted, and then if choice equals 1, print. We're going to input weekly scores. Week number equals, ask them which week it is. Team name is equal to Z, that says, and then I just say this continuous loop here, while team name is not equal to X. So I'll tell them to enter X to finish the entry. So team 1 equals input home team, what they scored, away team, and then I just want to score 2. Now notice one of the things with the newer versions of Python, if you've got them, it finishes off the variable for you, so just make sure it's quite nice in this way. There we are. So input goals scored. Right, then I'm going to decide if score 1 is greater than score 2, then I'm going to say, in fact I'm going to print so I'm going to say home team wins, elif score 2 is greater than score 1. Of course those variable names shouldn't have spaces in. Then I'm going to do else, we can assume print draw. Let's get rid of the 2 quotation marks. Now I want to ensure that I don't have to do these if statements again for this particular calculation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to need to store these points against this person, this team here, or these number of goals scored and the number of points, and I need to then maybe store that possibly in a list or something like that. So what I'll do, I'll set up points 1 equals 3, and of course I should store points 2 equals 0, and I'm going to repeat that for the other one. So points 2 equals 3, and points 1 equals 0, but in the case of a draw, points 1 equals 1, points 2 also equals 1. So we've stored that. Now we're ready then to do some processing with it. Now I could add this to a list, so what I'll do to start with, maybe up here I'll do team 1 list equals team 2 list equals. Now if you want to have a separate list for each, and then we can start when we do something like this. Within that, I'm going to say team 1 list dot append, and then I'm going to append the following. So I'm going to put in first of all team 1, which is their name from that first line. Team 1 list dot append 1, and team list again. Let's see if it comes up. Dot append. It's quite nice that, and I want to put points 1. So I want to upload then, and I'm also going to do the same for team 2 list. Now you may decide that you want to have the same list and just store it in that. That's entirely up to you, and you may do that. Alright, I'm just putting a way of putting it into. So I've now got it entering all the information. I'm now going to go back and look at my chapter and just see, well, how do I write to a file? And it's this text file equals open, and then the file mode, and then we're going to just write elements of the list or the variables to the file. So if I do that, let's go back to Python here. So, and I'll just put here a hash. So file open, oh sorry, we should say score results file, we call it results equals file open. Let's do this. In fact, let's see how it looks when I just put an F in, FI, and it comes up with, this is where I need to go back to my notes. Let's just check. Oh, it's just open, of course it is. And it comes up with open, and we'll have, we'll call it results.txt, and comma, and we'll have, it's going to be append because I want to add lots more files. So I've opened the file. In a bit I'm gonna, don't forget you need the brackets afterwards, otherwise it won't perform the operation. So now I'm going to say results file dot write, and I'm going to write team 1. And remember that if we put this \n, that's a new line. Okay, so it'll write that to a file, and in essence I'm going to write all of these, so I'll just do that. And those 6 lines there get Team 1 and Team 2 written to the file. Team 1 would be Team A or Man United or whoever written to, and I forgot it's a \n, not a /n, and we'll get that all written to a file. So let's have a look at that working. At the moment I haven't saved the file, so let's make sure you save. Should have done that a long time ago. It's called Home and Away 1. Click save. So I'll save that. And now when I run this, I notice that I've got team name equals Z, but while team name is not equal to X, well, it'll run, but then I put in team 1 and I never re-enter this value again. So I'm going to set team 1 to be Z. That's not going to be the name, and I'm going to say while team 1 is not equal to X, then do the following. And I also notice that I've got all of this right into the file outside of the loop. So I'm just going to indent that in, so it's part of the loop, so it writes each time a team plays. So let's run this, let's see if we get an error. What do we got? Week number 1, team name, and United, and goals scored 3. Team name, let's say Chelsea, quick and easy, and goals scored 2. It now tells me that it's going to try and write those to the file, but I've got an error. Unsupported operand, and I think it is because points1 is now a number, so I have to put the string version of it, of course. So I'm going to write str pts1 and \n, and I'm going to write str, alright, because I know that it's a string and I'm not adding them together. Okay, so I'm not trying to add a number with a string. So if I carry on playing that again, so I have to go through again. Right, your choice is 1. I'm going to enter week number 1, home team, and I'll just they got 3 goals. Chelsea got 2, and home team, I've got to say X. Now all of this, it's going to go through it all, but it's not going to. Let's go and see what it does. So it now tells me it's finished the program. Let's go and have a look at the file. So there's the results, and Man United 3 points, Chelsea 2 points, 2 goals, no points, and then all this little bit is the final going through. Now I'm going to have to make it so that it doesn't do that, but at the moment that will suffice. I'm quite happy with that, and I can go searching through that file at a later point.